welcome back to part 2 of the Broken Silence podcast. So this time we're going to go a bit deeper in the topic, and basically the question is depression becoming a cool trend? Now, before you guys answer, there was a rapper called Lil Xan, and basically he had a photo shoot, and in the photo shoot he had a hat, and basically on that it said depressed, and he was modeling it like it was cool. So I want to know your perspective of like depression in like 2019 and how you guys feel about it being so.
I think it's a bit of a sticky topic, you know, because I feel like there are generally people that are going through it. Yeah. And then there's on the flip side where there are people that may not be going through it. Maybe they're just having a sad or an off day and they are talking about it as if to say they are going through depression. Like there's a difference between being sad and being depressed, because I've been there, I would know. In terms of it being like seen as fashion or cool to be depressed, you know what, I disagree with it. I feel like sometimes people kind of see social media as somewhere that you just post all the happy, smiley, lovey-dovey aspects of your life. So why do people feel some type of way when people come on social media to say that maybe they're feeling suicidal or to talk about depression per se? I don't think that it's something where it's like it's in fashion. I just feel like we're living in a day and age where people are feeling more compelled and more open to talking about it via social media. That's literally, to me, that's how I see it. In regards to this rapper that you're talking about, I'm not familiar with him, I'm not gonna lie, but for him to be modeling a depressed hat, you can look at it in two ways. You can see it as him creating awareness to say, you know, I've been depressed and I now want to do a photo shoot and, you know, want to kind of create some kind of awareness or open discussion about it. Or I guess you could kind of see as, are you taking a piss and are you just doing it for publicity?
I feel like being someone who's been depressed and has suffered with anxiety and still suffers with it, the fact that, and people who have been depressed and suffer with anxiety know they will not turn up in a photo shoot and put depressed on a hat.
But I would disagree with you.
I feel like you would talk about depression and being depressed in a different way. Tell me how you wear something and say depressed as if it's because remember, when you're wearing something in a photo shoot, you're selling it, right? Are you selling to be depressed, or are you selling a woolly hat that keeps you warm at winter?
I can't comment on him because I don't know whether if he is selling it or not. But one thing that I will say in regards to what you've just said is I don't believe in the fact of because you're depressed you will or you won't do certain things. Everybody deals with depression differently. That's true. So that might be that person's outlet to showcase what they are going through. Do you get what I'm saying?
I get.
So
I get
if the
that,
person
but
is selling it and trying to make money off of it, then I agree with your point.
Do you feel there's boundaries?
What, when it
so that's the next question. Sorry, is he making money off this depressed hat? Or is he just making awareness? Right. There's a difference of making money and selling the hat called depressed. Or are you selling the hat and it's called depressed and you're getting money off of it? Or are you bringing awareness?
But even that, for example, let's just say if he was modeling it and he's selling the hat, what if the proceedings were going to a charity that deals with people that are depressed?
But that's what I don't know, and that's why I'm questioning it. Do you get what I mean? If it's going to awareness, then I get it, and cool, that's brilliant, excellent. But if you're actually just selling it to sell it, and it's called depressed, and you know what we talked about before, people are going to be talking about it. I didn't know who's his name? Lil Xan. Right? I didn't know who Lil Xan is. All of a sudden, I know who Lil Xan is because he's gone and wear a depressed on a hat, and people are going to talk about it. You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
So it's like these are the little things that I question. I have to question people in 2019 because I've got to find out: are you really bringing awareness, or are you taking a mick?
I 100% agree with that. But in regards to it being a thing of fashion, I don't think so, because I think, was it a couple of days ago, I had seen that is it some type of pastor or somebody had basically written a tweet about him praying for a family that had lost a loved one, and what people didn't realize is a couple hours after he had written that tweet, he committed suicide. So that could have been his cry for help. We've also seen people come on Facebook Live and say, you know what, I'm feeling so depressed, I'm feeling so low, and we're all at our social media like that person's not serious, that person just wants attention. Then by the following morning we hear, the person killed themselves via Facebook Live. So I just think that people are using it as an outlet to basically talk about how they are feeling. And sometimes what people forget is when you're depressed, well, it's different for different people, but for some people, you just feel so alone. Like you might be in a room full of people, but you still feel alone in that room. Yeah. So if you're somebody that's active on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram or whatever, you may just use it as your online journal to just showcase how you feel. Do you get what I'm saying?
With depression, you can't explain depression. That's what I've said. I've always said it. You cannot explain depression. So from time you can't explain depression, you cannot explain Hayden's depression, my depression, Winnie's depression, because it's all unique. Yeah. So it's like I'm kind of changing the way how I see the depressed thing, but I'm gonna stick to the point where I am gonna question certain things. Are you doing it for your name to be spoken about, or are you genuinely depressed? But a lot of the time you can't question what people do when they're depressed. There have been times when I wanted to close the door. Like there were times after I had my daughter, my sister noticed it, and living in a black home, people living in a black family, they talk about depression differently, and they sometimes be like, get up man, what are you doing man, get out of the house. So my sister would do that as a joke, but don't ever get twisted, she understands depression, she's been there before, but she was like, open a curtain man, like what are you, some bat, open a curtain, what are you doing, get out of the house. And sometimes that works for people, but sometimes it doesn't. At one point it worked for me, and I was like, it's true, what am I doing sitting in there being depressed, there's a whole world out there, let me get out. Do you get what I mean? But then one time she did that, I was like, go away, like I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear you telling me, are you a bat, you don't understand me, you don't understand what's going on right now. And for you to treat my depression as if it's a joke, it's rude. So it's like there's different reactions to when you're depressed. And so I'm going back to the little Zan thing. Maybe him doing that might have been, oh, I'm feeling depressed, let me go and make a hat or whatever, say depressed, and take a photo shoot and show awareness, and maybe show my family that I'm actually depressed. Maybe their family didn't know that, and he can't go and talk to his family and be like, look, face to face, I'm depressed. Let me kind of do it in this way to show people right now I'm not happy.
That's what I was saying in the beginning, that people deal with things differently. I'm starting to understand. And I'm taking that Lil Xan guy out of the mix, but I feel like even within the black community, for example, a lot of black families, it could be our parents or our grandparents or whatever, they don't understand why we're depressed. It's like, what have you got to be depressed about? You're in this country, you have opportunities, you have a job, you have this, you have that. Do you get what I'm saying? And then it can go as far as, for example, when you want to go and seek therapy, like for example, off camera I was telling you guys about Debanj, for example, who lost his son, I think it was last year, and I saw a brief clip of him saying that, after he lost his son, he went to go the white people method and get therapy. And I saw that clip and I was like, but why is getting therapy seen as a white thing? Getting therapy actually can save your life, because it gives you a whole different outlook onto things, and it helps to change your mind.
I get what you're saying, but let's be real, it's not a black people think. Well, let me unquote, I don't believe in what you said at all. But it's not something that a black person would do. When you hear a black boy saying, I'm going therapy, I just come out of jail, I need to go therapy. That's raw, like that's good, Oh, well done.
That's fantastic.
Oh my God. Do you get what I mean? So I get why you said the white people method, because I want to know, I'm going to ask you guys, what is the black people method to depression? If you was to lose your dad or your mum or your son,
you get over it, life goes on, innit? That's basically
you just won't tell anyone.
That's it. And you suffer in silence, which is why a lot of people are committing suicide within our community, especially black men at that. If we're gonna go deep into it, because in a way, I'm not saying that this happens to all black people, all black families, but a lot of us are conditioned to be strong, and in being strong you cannot be sad, you cannot be low, you cannot wallow, you cannot, what's the word, like you can't catch a break, you just keep on going. That's what we've been conditioned to be like.
As a black guy, have you ever suffered with depression, and if you have, how have you dealt with it?
I think for me personally, I have a slightly kind of different train of thought, I guess, maybe due to my upbringing. I don't personally believe I've suffered from depression. I think I've had moments and like situations in my life where I've been like really down and really low and just feeling like, what's all this about, and like giving up. But for me personally, just due to my beliefs, I don't believe that I can get depressed. maybe just because of the way I am, my personality is, I don't see myself as someone that can get depressed.
But do you know why I admire that? Because you've differentiated the fact that you've had low moments and certain days that you feel off key, and you've differentiated the difference of having a low moment or a sad day or whatever to actually being depressed. And I do feel like sometimes a lot of people can't quite see the difference. Do you get what I'm saying?
And I think that's where my kind of main question comes to, as to, because I think you mentioned a point before about your depression is different from his depression and her depression. Who actually diagnoses this for you? Because obviously for you to say, oh, I'm in depression, there has to be a diagnosis. You can't tell yourself, oh, I'm in depression, because
you can.
How do you know it's depression?
Because you know the person who you was before. And from time you're sitting in a room, your curtains are closed, your phone is off, and you're literally in the covers from morning to night. I mean, and you're not going college or you're not going school. You've quit work. You was never this person before. When you're in it, you don't know you're personally for me, when I've suffered with depression, when I'm in it, I didn't know I was depressed until someone spoke to me and was like, Aretha, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I go back to sleep and I'm like, I ain't okay. And that's when I knew, but what is this? Why am I not feeling okay? You know?
And I think that's my kind of main thing. And like going back to that point of, okay, you're the person you are, you're not behaving like that person. But who says or who tells you or who lets you know that actually this is depression or this is what I was in, unless there is some kind of diagnosis. If you've gone to a doctor and they said, oh, these symptoms,
I don't believe in that.
Depressed. A doctor cannot diagnose you.
You understand?
That you're depressed.
Because let me flip to another perspective. Okay, you might have like an ailment and you have certain symptoms and like your body's doing this, blah blah blah, and without going to a doctor, you might be like, oh gosh, no, I've got this illness. You've gone Google, so I've definitely got this illness. But then you've gone to a doctor and be like, oh no, you've not. The symptoms might show this, but it's actually this.
Depression's not questionable. For me, I feel like once you're in depression, you're in depression. I feel like there's not a diagnosis for depression either, because someone might lose a cat, right? And they can go into depression because that cat was everything that they loved. You know what I mean? They came home, that was the only thing that they loved. And then when that cat dies, they've gone into depression. I wouldn't understand that because I don't have a love for cats. But then who am I to go and tell, which black people do, who am I to go and tell a girl, you know, why are you crying about a cat for, man? Pick up yourself and go on about your business. Who am I to do that?
The only reason I'm saying it, and I'm like trying to get a kind of like provoke a thought about it, is because I think you mentioned before that knowing the difference between just being sad or being in a low moment and actually being depressed. If you can't really put a tag or a diagnosis to it, who are we or who are you to tell someone else,
what's the difference
you're just being
sad?
low, you're just being sad, blah, blah, blah. They could genuinely think in themselves, oh, I was actually depressed, but they weren't. They were just sad or in a low moment. So how do we as a people actually differentiate and actually say, okay, cool, this person is just sad.
Could it be a time frame kind of thing?
I was just about to say that. Like, I mean, you know what, different strokes for different folks at the end of the day, but I feel like having a sad moment and being depressed, like the duration in time, again, I could be wrong because I'm not an expert, but I feel like the duration in time, depression is deep. It tends to also be like an ongoing battle. And you know, when you were saying like, oh, but how do you know? Because you haven't gone to the doctors, for example, to get a diagnosis. You just feel it in your spirit. At the time, like Aretha said, you may not realize it, but it will get to a point where something will be brought to your attention. When, for example, you start noticing that maybe you're having a lot more suicidal thoughts, or you know, maybe you might be somewhere and you're thinking about, well, like, should I jump and just end this all? Like when you're crying yourself to sleep at night,
so it's deeper than just emotions.
It's deeper than just emotions. It's almost like, I don't want to put it this way, but I think this is the best way that I can put it right now, but it's like you're battling internal demons is the best way. Like you're in a proper dark space, that you may at that time, and a lot of people feel like at that time they can't get out of that space. Do you get what I'm saying? That's very different to you having a sad day or having a sad 2 days. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it's deep. You can't word depression in one word because it's up, and it's a lonely space to be.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to a doctor or professional to kind of be diagnosed with it. You will just
they're probably gonna give you tablets,
and that's exactly why I personally wouldn't.
And those tablets are very lethal.
And that's part of the reason why I mentioned what I've mentioned, because you might have seen in the news recently that it said there's a record number of people that are becoming addicted to kind of like painkillers and opiates and things like that.
And why would they not be? Because when you go, they're just giving you pills like anyhow.
So I think for me personally, the reason why I'm kind of bringing this up is that even though I've not personally gone through it, whenever there's a situation or something occurs like this, I want to look at how can you resolve this, and looking at the actual root cause. So my kind of main question is, okay, we know you can't really go to a doctor to get a diagnosis. You know how it feels. It's deep and there's just emotions. Yeah. How can we get to the root causes, and how can we speak to people? Like, what advice would you give to people that are going through the situations and actual, dealing with the root causes of something like this?
I would say, because obviously I've been through depression, I would say if it could be a thing where they've probably gone through something in their past and it has crept up on them, because I know for a fact that there's been words that have been said about myself and it's hurt to the core, and it's brought me to a dark place. And just to be reassured that this may sound like cliche, but things are gonna be all right, or just to be ensured that Hayden, like, you got a whole life ahead of you, like, it's okay to be there. Don't worry, like, everything's gonna be fine. Like, just being reassured that everything's gonna be okay. Because I feel like when people talk to you in regards to, why are you being depressed? Why are you doing this? It takes you into a place of like no one cares. Like, I'm opening up to you about something, and like, you don't respect what I'm saying. So all right, if you don't respect me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut myself out. How about that? Like, you can't say nothing else to me. You know what I mean? So I would say definitely just helping people and stop trying to attack someone for actually opening up. And I feel like a lot of black men are very shut off because of that. Do you get what I mean?
It's because they've been taught to shut down their emotions. And that's why, to your question, I feel like there's so many, it cannot be answered, because there's so many things that we can do to stop, to prevent depression. But the most that we can do is in our daily lives, look at things and be like, I'm going to change this for depression. I'm going to do this. I'm going to message this amount of people. It sounds stupid, but I'm going to message this amount of people. Just say, how are you? Yeah. You okay? Yeah. How's your health? Yeah. What you doing? Do you get what I mean? I feel like that's probably the start of it, because people who suffer with depression, you just want someone to ask you, how are you? As soon as someone asks you, how are you? You're there bawling already. Do you get what I mean? So I think that is one, but also a lot of it is therapy. A lot of it is parenting skills, talking to parents, knowing the right thing and the wrong thing to say to your children. It's a lot of things build up to help or prevent depression.
I think there's like so many things that I could talk about in regards to, you were saying messaging people like, how are you and stuff like that. I think after like I went through my depression and stuff, I alter things a bit. So, sometimes I will ask people, how are you? But most times, if I'm worried about somebody for whatever reason, I'll say, how are you feeling? Because I feel like there's a difference between how are you and how are you feeling today. In regards to depression, it comes from, upbringing, for example, being taught that you must suppress your feelings in order to feel strong and all of that. But when you actually are feeling low, I think it's very important to confide in somebody that you trust. That can be a professional, that can be your best friend, if it's a family member or whatever. It has to be somebody that you can trust. And
but some people can't find anyone that they can trust.
And that's why I also mentioned a professional. And with that whole professional aspect, therapy also comes into it. Like, a lot of people don't know, for example, we have like CBT therapy, which is cognitive behavioural therapy. And I did that last year, and it's free for you to do. The only thing about that looks at your behavioural patterns. So for me, I noticed that it got to one stage where people be calling me and I would watch my phone ring out and I would not call people back. That is actually a sign, for example, because at the time I didn't want to talk to you anybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and even when it comes down to little things like, for example, if you're somebody that is losing friends anyhow, or you're dating people that you shouldn't be dating, there's always a reason for why you are the way that you are, or why you're handling things the way that, like Hayden, you were saying that sometimes there's things in the past that you need to deal with. And at that point in time, I realized that there was a lot of things that I needed to deal with, whether it was previous relationship or family stuff that I needed to deal with in order to change my behavioral patterns and how I was dealing with things now. So I think it's very important to talk to a professional as well, regardless of whether you're black, white, whatever. There's no shame in talking to a professional, because trust me, that really does help. You know, it's not going to be an overnight thing, but over time you will start to notice certain things. It's not an overnight thing, because from time to time you may slip back into certain habits, like for example, you know, isolation or not contacting people. And also another thing in regards to your "how are you" message is that I feel like, then this is something that I normally see on Twitter a lot. Oh, like if somebody's not checking in on me, then fuck them and stuff. See that mentality. Because for all you know, that friend that's not checking up on you is battling suicidal thoughts, and that's why they're not. So why can't you pick up the phone and call your friend up and be like, "Oh, I haven't heard from you in a while. Like, how are you feeling? Is everything okay?"
I feel like that's very that mentality is very immature.
Very immature. And I see people just proudly showcasing this mentality on social media. And honestly,
I think, that causes them to kind of be like, "Oh, rah," like. And I think especially when you know it's about you. Like when you've seen that message, it's like, whoa, like, like I'm going through something and you've just done.
Do you know what that's happened to me? Like I had a best friend, like this was my sister, like you know, she knew my secrets, I knew her secrets. Like we didn't even call each other friends anymore, we were sisters. And like she was going through depression. And so was I going through depression. But the worst thing is, like, it was communication. Like, we weren't communicating that. I could see that she was going through depression. And me, like an idiot, I've learned my lessons now. I gave her space. And that's what she didn't need. And she told me, we met up. And we spoke, and she said, that's not what I needed. I didn't need space. I needed you to be there for me. So then I was like, okay, but then when I was there for you, I felt like you was pushing me, and then but I felt like you was pushing me away. Do you get what I mean? So a lot of it was communication. But it's it hurts that, you know, knowing that your best friend's going through depression and you're going through depression, and you guys can't even help each other. You get what I mean? At some point, but you can't even help each other at that
but you see, the most important thing is that you both learn something from it, and that's what I think is key. You guys are still friends to this day, right? See, there you are. I feel like we're living in a day and age where
we're not friends as like we was before.
Okay, which is fair enough.
But we were able to really like talk
it out.
Come to common ground.
That's the most important thing.
I feel like
the root causes for these kind of things. Understand,
definitely.
Like,
and I feel like we're living in a day and age where people are just chucking things away really quickly without having the opportunity to talk things out when it's necessary, of course.
Facts.
Okay, guys, next question. How would you handle your partner confiding in you about their depression?
That's deep.
What I would say is, if my partner told me that she was going through depression, I'll make sure to ask her what kind of what kind of
what can you do?
No, not what can you do. It's more in terms of like, what brought you to that place of depression? Like, what was it? What do you think? Like, I would fully ask first. Like, is it me? Because I don't want her to feel like she can't come and talk to me if I'm the problem. So I'll actually make that clear. Make that very clear.
My first question would be, how long have you been in this depression for?
Nah, dead all of that. I'm not in any of those questions at all. I think from my point of view, if my partner told me that they were feeling depressed, I wouldn't ask. It's not about me, so I'm not gonna be like, is it me that's brought on your depression, or how long have you been depressed for? Nah,
but asking how long you've been depressed for is about the person, not about me. I'm asking
no, because Hayden said something like, is it me? Like, is it me that's almost like, is it me that's kind of brought or added to your depression? Me personally, I feel like the most important thing first is to listen. Like, allow your partner, if say your partner's going through, I'll call it a rant. Yeah, they're just proper offloading. Let them talk. Don't interrupt. Let them finish what they want to say.
Offloading and depression is two different things.
How do you mean? Like, no, because this question is if your partner tells you that they're going through depression.
Okay.
I don't know, different strokes, different folks, but I'm imagining it in my head for them to kind of dive deep into how they are feeling. It's not going to be a quick, Aretha, you know what, I'm feeling depressed, you know, and then that's conversation done. It's going to be much deeper than that. So I feel like you need to be open to listening to what your partner is saying. I don't feel like you need to ask any questions in regards to like, is it me? Don't make it about you, because it's about them. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. By all means, ask questions to kind of find out, like you lot are saying, what's kind of brought it on per se, and if maybe they have confided in anyone, and have a conversation about it and let them know that, you know, you've basically got their back. But at the same time, that being said, I feel like hypothetically speaking, there's only so much that you can do if your partner is in a deep state of depression. Do you get what I'm saying? Because people make it sound easy, like, yeah, if my man's depressed, I'm gonna ride and die for him and da-da-da. By all means, be there for your partner. But I also think that it's also very important to inform your partner or encourage your partner to also seek professional help, because there's only so much that you can do, because people are forgetting that can also have its toll on you, and that can also affect your mental health. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've got a different way of thinking. If my boyfriend was in depression, the reason why I still stick to saying, how long have you been in this depression, is because that's how I think. Yeah. Because I need, there's reason why I'm asking these questions. Yeah. First of all, I will listen to him. Yeah. That's the first thing I'm doing. That's what you need. You need to listen to the partner. Yeah. And I'll wait for you to stop. Yeah. I'll wait for you to cry and offload. It's all right to cry, guys. It's all right to cry, innit? Yeah. I'll wait for you to cry. I'll wait for you to stop and be like, breathe. And I'll be like, I want to ask you the first question. How long have you been like this? I need to know how long someone's been like this, so I know how, it's going to be bad, how serious it is. If someone's been like this for a whole year and I haven't seen that you've been like that, there's something wrong with me. Okay, one. Cool. Two, there's something wrong with this relationship, because clearly I should know when you've been depressed. I would hope to know. I could tell that my boyfriend's been depressed before he tells me he's depressed. Okay. I want to be able to know my boyfriend that much. Obviously, it's not going to always be the case. Do you get what I mean? There are guys who can know how to hide stuff. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And you never know, to me personally, you will never know your boyfriend or your partner to that 100%. But I want to know that I will be able to see, oh, baby, so that's why you was acting like that. Because you're feeling like this. And then I'll let them know that you have a friend in me. Before you got a girlfriend in me, you got a friend in me. And then you've got a girlfriend in me, and we will sort this out together. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. However, as I agree with you in saying there's going to be a certain point, girls and guys, you know, when your partner is going through depression, you've got to think of your mental state as well. Yeah, that's because really a lot of the time when it's your girlfriend or your boyfriend, you're gonna his burden is your burden, and her burden is your burden. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So you've got to make sure that there's a balance.
Yeah, I think it's very important for your partner to feel like they can talk to you. But at the same time, that being said, I feel like when it comes to depression, you're not thinking straight. Yeah. So it's not like when you're in that state, you're not like, things around you is not, I don't want to say it's not normal, but it's not you wouldn't think like how you normally do. So in terms of, you know, you saying that if your partner was feeling depressed, you know, you would think that you would have noticed certain things. I do agree with what you're saying. At the same time, that being said, even a couple days ago, you know, was it last year or the year before? I can't remember if it's Blink 182, but one of those, like a celebrity basically committed suicide, and his wife recently tweeted that just before, not like literally just before, maybe like a day or so before he committed suicide, they were having fun out and about somewhere, and there's a picture of all of them smiling in that photo. So the thing with depression is you can be with somebody that, you know, is all smiling and all showing you love and stuff. Do you get what I'm saying? So the symptoms are not always clear, is the point that I'm trying to say. So you could be like to your partner, like, how long have you been feeling this way for? And what they say, 6 months. And if they say 6 months and you haven't noticed that, I'm not saying you in particular, but I feel like that kind of dents your ego to some degree. And that's why I was saying at the beginning, you need to remember it's not about you. It's about them. Do you get what I'm saying? It might not be a thing of, oh, they felt they couldn't talk to you. It might not even be that. Maybe they just weren't ready to talk about it then, and they're ready to talk about it now.
No, 100%. I understand. That's why I said I would hope. Hopefully I will be able to clock it. You know, I'm not God, do you know what I mean? And a lot of the time men know how to hide things. I mean, they cheat and, you know, they lie and you will never know. Do you get what I mean?
No, most
you will never know. So imagine if they're depressed. Do you get what I mean? You half the time you won't know. I get what you're saying.
But like you said, like I definitely agree. Like communication is key. Like you need to build that foundation where there's that space. Like if they are feeling some type of way, they feel like they can't talk to you. But at the same time, that being said, there will be instances, for example, in depression where you might not be thinking straight. So you may not want to talk. You may want to mask certain things like how you're truly feeling. And it may not have anything to do with your partner per se, but it's just you're in that state. So when they do open up to you, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I just think it's so important to not make it about you, because I feel like that way you're making it worse.
Yeah, definitely. No, 100%. I just knew that because you was coming from that end of side, I'm thinking of other's perspective that people would think like me. But I 100% get what you're saying.
Like, I think it's important as well if you do get to the space where you can encourage your partner to go and seek professional help, let them know that you will go with them to therapy. Like, you will hold their hands, you'll be there for them. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a burden that you alone faces. Do you get what I'm saying?
But quick question, would you, if you can see that you're not helping the situation, and maybe if I leave him, I'm just saying, if that happens where you have to leave the situation,
I will leave.
Will you leave?
I will leave.
Just for his happiness?
Oh, it's not even like, you know what? Just for his happiness, okay, cool. And also, not just that, I'm just going to be real, because I feel like a lot of people are not real when it comes to this topic. But if it was an ongoing thing and it had been going on for, let's just say, 5-6 months, and I could feel that it was affecting me, my mental health and my energy, I would lock it off.
I feel like 5-6 months is not long enough to lock it off.
No, but I'm saying each to their own. That's just a rough estimate. And you've got to think as well, what may not be long for you is long to somebody else. And sometimes things feel differently to different people. Do you get what I'm saying?
But how I feel, 5 to 6 months for me personally, I know you're just giving an average time, right? But 5 to 6 months for me with my boyfriend is not long enough. I mean, if I've been with my boyfriend for 4 years, and only for 5 to 6 months we've just discussed that you're depressed.
That was just like a random number that came to my head. But the point I'm trying to make is, if it gets to a certain point, it doesn't matter. For some people it might be a month and they can't handle it, and they're having a mental breakdown themselves, regardless of the duration. If you feel, you've got to think about yourself. Do you get what I'm saying? As selfish as that sounds, you got to 100. Sometimes you got to do you regardless. Like, I know people are gonna watch this and think that I'm up, whatever. I think
no,
at the end of the day, like, we have one life to live. Do you get what I'm saying? And you've done your best. You're trying to be there for your partner and stuff, and you feel like you've done what you can without it deteriorating your mental health. Then cool. But if it's dragging on, gotta do what you got to do.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You know, your happiness is number one. 100%.
Okay. So I just want to say, Wini, thank you so much for coming through to the Broken Silence.
Thank you for having me.
Go follow her on YouTube, innit?
Yes.
If you love your natural hair. Sorry.
Plug it.
What's your Instagram? Let them know.
Right, so my Instagram is Wini Boansi, and Boansi is spelled Boansi. I'm on a YouTube as well. I'm a locked and lifestyle natural hair YouTuber. Right? So follow me, support me and that.
If you love your black hair and that, go follow her and that.
So make sure you support
Thank you very much, guys, for having me as well.
And
love
yes,
you,
Aretha,
Winnie.
yes, thank you. You've been amazing as well. And Dan, thank you as well. I mean, it's Fernao, thank you as well. But yeah, all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, guys, it's I was about to say it's official Hayden.
Wow, it's official Hayden.
Yeah, it's official Hayden, and we're out.
RSK, let it play, boy.